morning, patron subscribers. Gold is a sell at the big picture, and if we click the buy sell toggle, then we haven't got the interchange, but it's possible we might. And today we've got NFP, so it's going to shake up the retail guys quite a bit. The stop loss cluster below is pretty much obvious at 1900. They love their round numbers, like I've been saying all week. And I didn't get filled, or so I say we didn't get filled on our short, which is fine. It's no worries, because not being filled on a trade, it just means that you don't have a loss or a win. It's not really a problem. The idea was that we were going to short up here, but we never did get it. We came close. The area to short was probably a little bit too high. Could have shorted it here, but it was actually a short at 1970 with a stop at 1980. So we came close to the short idea. We didn't get filled, but that's fine. Not to worry. We have some institutional buy volumes here, but we got a big sell on the white candle. So this here, 1921 should be a resistance. Okay, so if you're trading gold, keep an eye on 1921, because that's your bearish institutional volumes. They've come in there, and so we should have that as a resistance, and then that should be a resistance as well. So basically this box, so we can draw that. And we had quite a surge on the dollar yesterday. We had some news come out from Russia, and Putin was talking about retaliation. And so the dollar, being a safe haven, it did appreciate quite a bit. And because the dollar strengthened, it impacts everything pretty much. It's a bit like a wrecking ball. So there's your resistance zone. And if you want double extra confirmation, wait for that interchange. Once we do, that's going to be quite bearish for gold, because these guys have been right for ages and they've made quite a bit of money on their positioning. If we get an interchange, then I think we'll probably just have to fall. There's not much liquidity down here, actually. There's hardly any stops down there. 1860. So for a narrative for a driver to push price, we don't really have to go below 1860, because there isn't any stops down there, which is really interesting. So probably down here, and then you look to TP, because there isn't any driver, any reason or rationale to push price, because there's no stops. So if you're looking for a short, 1860 should be like a final destination, like a King's Cross for your like a terminal where to conclude your trade. So that is interesting, actually. Let's look at pound. Now, pound's got its monthly pivot, so 12202. What I think is probably going to happen, we're going to reclaim monthly pivot. We're going to chop up and down, and then we can look for a trade on Monday, and we'll use the monthly pivot for a guide in order to trade against. We can use it as a stop loss, and we'll probably want to wait for some, bearish activity, some bearish candles to form below. And then we'd want to potentially look at a smaller time frame just to get that extra guarantee and that confidence. Then we can look to shorts with a stop at MP. And then, of course, because we're below it monthly pivot, we have to target the stop loss cluster at 121.59. But we have exceeded the ATR short. We have made quite a move, to be honest with you. So I think potentially MP, chop around, come back on Monday, and then we're going to short it, and we're going to target that stop loss cluster. It might get probed today, to be honest with you. It might just want that stop. There's quite a lot of liquidity here, isn't there? Loads of stops. And that might just be, that's probably what might happen. So today we're probably going to take the stop loss cluster, but I think better, safer to come back on Monday, and we can use the monthly pivot as a really decent level. And hopefully it uses it, and then we just simply move off it. Dollar Swiss last month in January zigzagged a monthly pivot, and it was quite horrible. So hopefully GU doesn't do the same. So that's an idea for GU on Monday. Not today, because we've got the NFP, EU, and so we had a big reduction, an increase of longs and a reduction of shorts. So that's them guys going long. Monthly resistance 1. I was saying how this was a good, decent resistance. We had a stop loss cluster and MR1, if you remember yesterday's video, and that's resulted in an excellent trade. So if you took that, you would have done incredibly well. There's your MR1 level. When the stop loss cluster is at the MR1 level, you've got a double confidence. It's like quite a strong indication that's going to be a resistance. It's got technical resistance and then sentimental resistance, in so much that's where the stops were. And so we know it's concluded that narrative. We had a technical resistance, and down we came. 108.70, 109.50, and so that's EU. Then GU. Let's look at AU, and the Aussie bubble is quite weak. It's in the strong sell section with the pound, so this probably quite weak. 70.75, a big stop loss cluster. In fact, there's loads of stops down here. Like I said yesterday, it's possible we're going to come down. If you remember, we was looking above and there wasn't that much, but below we had loads, and so they might just want to come and raid those stops. So huge amount of retail stops here, and if you wanted to push price to punish them and take their stops, then it could be easily done. We're quite close, aren't we? Monthly pivot there as well, so potential scenario: grab those stops, be incredibly cruel, and then monthly pivot for a bounce. And then you can look for longs above MP, or you can look for shorts below MP. But you notice that there's not much stops below, so it might not have a reason to break MP and to continue to hunt these guys, where it can hunt these people quite easily. Very cruel, and hopefully you understand why price does its thing, because basically it just wants to punish, and it wants to take liquidity. It's liquidity grab and then bounce. And it will use that as a support. Once they've been liquidated, it's like, yep, job done. Then we can go higher. So it's pretty horrible. A bit like a monster in a way. It wants to consume, wants to continually, consume like energy in order for the next move. And so that's that. So it's very horrible, but that's that. Let's look at dollars. And dollar CAD was a humongous move, and it was pretty horrendous. And it's just horrible, isn't it? I think this probably would have eliminated a lot of retail traders on that move. It's just you can't really trade it. Huge candle. One above's too far away, so I won't show you that. The one below is at 13255 weekly open, so you can probably target ATR long. Below the weekly open, we target the SLC. So that's that. Dollar Swiss. A monthly pivot's there as well, so resistance, and then likewise here resistance. Weekly open. Where's your SLCs? Far away. Oh, they're doing the same thing as they did for the dollar. Oh no, it's there. That's fine. 91.86. One below. 90.50. And lastly, dollar yen, and then we're done. And yeah. We chopped, we broke below the range, and now we're just consolidating even more. We are a buy, 49%, so it depends what they do. If they sell it, then we can come up to the SLC. 129.10, one below is at 128.05. And we're just pretty much consolidating. We're making like a triangle. Can you see? That normally tells us a breakout's going to come. So I think potentially the one above, because they're selling it. So how far away is that? It's not that far, 60 pips, so it's possible. 45 pips, so it's possible it might do that. Then they might do that. So you just got to be careful with this. And the yields didn't make much sense at all because they dumped. But we had lots of scary news, genuine scary news from Russia, and we've got NFP today. So normally the yields spike in anticipation of the risk event today. So whether or not they're not worried about the NFP and they're not worried about Russia, maybe that's the case, but that's unusual. So you've got to be careful, and especially these horrible moves as well. So have a great weekend. I'll be back on Sunday with the COT data. Remember, the COT data is available for everyone on the bulletin tier and above, and you can use that data file. But you do need to have Excel. It won't load otherwise. You need Excel. Have a great weekend. I'll speak to you guys soon.